over 55 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by the Georgia Farm Bureau in association with Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College.
Well, look at that. See, I told you they'd come back next week, and there they are. Welcome, friends of Farm Monitor, the only show that's been celebrating Georgia agriculture longer than Jennifer and I have been alive.
That's right. Bring you the stories that make Georgia grow. So let's dive in and show you what's on the docket for this week. A federal ban on key dicamba products has growers scrambling, why quick action is now critical for controlling pigweed. Also on the program, she's mixing flowers with future careers, how one ag teacher's fresh approach is blooming into national recognition. And then later, it's a special delivery from Perry. They're not just adorable, they're helping a group of adults with disabilities gain real-life skills, all while connecting the world of agriculture. You won't want to miss this heartwarming story of growth, teamwork, and a little bit of fun. All this and so much more starting right now on the Farm Monitor.
So with dicamba likely off the table in 2025, cotton and soybean growers are now searching for alternative ways to manage pigweed. As Damon Jones reports, that means staying sharp and strategic this growing season.
With commodity prices down across the board, especially in cotton, maximizing yield is now more important than ever for growers. And one of the biggest ways of doing that is keeping their fields free of pigweed. Unfortunately, that became more difficult after a U.S. court banned the use of over-the-top dicamba early last year.
It's very important, the older chemistries, the products that are labeled for pastures or turf, or even labeled for burn down in crops like cotton, those labels weren't impacted. It was just the Ingenia, the XtendiMax, and the Atavium, but they were extremely important to us in both cotton and soybean production in those tolerant varieties.
Unlike the previous ban, this decision had nothing to do with off-target spraying or environmental concerns. It was instead an error in registration, as the EPA failed to post it for public notice and comment, which started a possible 28-month review.
We didn't lose those labels because of an environmental issue. We didn't lose those labels because of a human health issue. It was a procedural issue when registering the product during the last registration process. So as of today, it's still not looking very favorable for 2025. We recommend our growers go ahead and start thinking about their alternative systems. They have been doing that for a couple of months now, and we are working as hard as we can for 2026, but I'm gonna tell you, there are no guarantees.
With that in mind, there are other effective options based on the seed variety. However, each of them requires growers to be more prepared and timelier with their application.
You're really looking at an enlist program, kind of that 2,4-D system, or you're really looking at a Liberty-based program. Now, there are a lot of similarities with those programs. Those programs are really only successful if we make sure we don't have any weeds at the time of planting. You have to be super timely, more timely than we were with the dicamba-based program. Depending on what technology, seed trait technology they grew, we'll run either an enlist-based program or a Liberty-based program, and we can effectively control this weed. We just got to be a little bit more on the game this year. We can't play catch up like we've been able to play the last few years with some of our programs.
With input costs constantly on the rise, farmers are always looking at ways to make their operations more efficient. However, cutting back on herbicide applications isn't likely to pay off in the long run.
Weed management is one of many important components for sustainability on our family farms, without a doubt. And in a year like this year, you're typically trying to save money. How can I save money? How can I cut? But what that does, especially in a weed management program, when we're dealing with stuff like Palmer amaranth, there are not a lot of things that we can cut or remove from that system because we're already challenged. We're already using every tool in the toolbox.
Reporting from Tifton, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
At Morgan County High School, ag teacher Rachel Kinsall is doing more than teaching floral design and horticulture. She's helping students find their purpose, no matter their background. For her fresh approach to ag education, recently earned her national recognition. John Holcomb shows us how she's shaping the next generation, both in and out of the classroom.
Inside the classroom and greenhouse here at Morgan County High School, Rachel Kinzall's lessons go far beyond textbooks. With classes like floral design, horticulture, and forestry, she's introducing students to the wide world of agriculture and helping them find where they fit, even for those that don't come from an ag background.
Right now I teach horticulture, forestry, and floral design. So I'm kind of more on the plant side of things. Floral design came about because we were trying to attract a different kid into the ag program, trying to diversify our population a little bit. At that time we were really boy heavy. And so we created our floral design program to try to pull in different kids that might not have taken an ag class otherwise. So once we get them in the door with our bright and shiny star, the floral design program, then I can convince them to take horticulture or forestry or animal science or maybe even ag mechanics.
That strategy proved to be beneficial, but for Kinzall, it's not just about numbers. It's all about giving them the space to discover where they belong in the world of agriculture.
Well, agriculture is so diverse. And so one thing I really try to focus in on the kids is like we try a little bit of everything to try to find something that sticks and something that they really love. Once they find that area, I think it's just natural for your passion to come out and shine. And so that's what I try to show the kids and try to do that in lots of different ways by giving them different opportunities, whether it be public speaking or it be hands-on production or showing livestock, but giving them a wide variety of opportunities so that they can see what sticks and where their passion lies.
Kinzall's clear passion for ag education is one of the reasons she was recently named a Milken Educator Award recipient, one of 40 in the nation.
They like to celebrate the unsung hero, and so they're looking for people who don't necessarily gain that recognition and like really pushing to celebrate those people. And then they focus on elevating. So I just got back from LA where I met with the other 39 other educators that won the Milken Award across the nation this year. And the focus was elevating us to find our passion, explore our passion, be 10% bolder and take those risks. And then the third part of it is activating. So leaving the conference, I'm activating these educators to go out and do big things, to explore, advocate for education.
For Kinzall, advocating for ag education is something she deems essential, as she believes regardless of whether or not her students pursue careers in ag, the program prepares them for the workforce.
CTAE is really working to prepare students for the workforce, to prepare them through career tech and ag education. I think a big portion of my job is advocating for what we do so that our program is seen relevant in the community and relevant in the state. So whether the kids go into ag or not, or go in one way or the other, we're hoping that they're much more prepared for the workforce.
Reporting in Madison for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
On that note, could someone you know be Georgia's next Ag Teacher of the Year? GFB is taking nominations now. We'll tell you how to apply. And then later, it's not something you usually see at the post office every day. How one group is using baby chicks to teach life skills.
How do you make a farm or ranch more sustainable? There's no single answer, but there are common practices used by producers across the country to improve profitability, quality of life, and environmental stewardship. Farmers everywhere are learning the importance of improving the health of their soil. Planting a cover crop is one of the best ways to get there. Including cover crops in our crop rotations helps us build soil structure and fertility, protect water quality, suppress pests, and improve the bottom line. The benefits are more pronounced when we use cover crops and reduced tillage together. We can manage soil nutrients more efficiently by using the right cover crops. For example, plant legume cover crops before heavy feeder crops to supply them with nitrogen. After harvest, follow with a grass cover crop to scavenge excess nutrients and reduce leaching into waterways. Living cover crop roots hold the soil together to slow erosion and even help break up compacted soils. Cover crop residues add organic matter to soil, improving water holding capacity, water infiltration, and aeration. Soils high in organic matter can better retain moisture during hot, dry years and absorb excess rain in wetter years. These soils also have abundant microorganisms that cycle nutrients and suppress disease. Cover crops also help manage pests, including herbicide-resistant weeds. Leaving a mat of cover crop residue smothers weeds, cutting herbicide costs. Cover crops can pay for themselves within the first few years by cutting input costs and providing modest yield boosts. Their value increases when grown for seed or as forage for livestock. Over the long term, they help us build resilient cropping systems. There's much more to learn about cover crops. Start exploring today.
As the school year winds down, Georgia Farm Bureau wants to remind educators that there's still time to apply for the 2025 Ag in the Classroom Teacher of the Year Award. Each school year, GFB proudly honors teachers who creatively incorporate agriculture into their daily lessons, connecting students to the vital role farming plays in food, fuel, and more. Certified non-agricultural educators from pre-K through 12th grade are eligible, with the winner receiving a $500 prize and a trip to the 2026 National Ag in the Classroom Conference. Here now, a closer look at the current title holder, Aaron Pringle of Henry County. In a society where students are often tethered to textbooks and digital screens, Aaron Pringle, a veteran educator at Unity Grove Elementary, is rewriting the narrative by immersing her students in the vibrant, hands-on world of agriculture. Pringle's journey into Ag Ed is as inspiring as it is transformative. It all started with her son Jack, who initiated the program as part of his FFA project. Seeing the potential of this budding initiative, Aaron took the reins and expanded it into a robust program that has touched the lives of countless students. In essence, what began as a small project has blossomed into a passion-driven mission to connect suburban students with the roots of agriculture.
It was filling a passion and a need that I feel like our kids are missing. In our typical curriculum nowadays, they get a lot of factual information, but not a lot of hands-on. We don't have time for experiments, we don't have time for exploration, we don't have time for public presentation. And so the things that they were doing with Farmer Jack or with Miss Pringle filled those needs.
She was able to very quickly see and help others see, whether it was students and teachers at the high school, because we do a lot of partnerships with them, as well as our teachers here, that this connects to all of our standards. It connects to our kids need to be hands-on. They need to see, why am I learning how to measure area and perimeter? When am I ever going to use this? And then was able to give them a challenge, like, well, we have a pig and a goat coming, we need to build them a pen.
Aaron's first major project involved transforming the school's courtyard into a thriving garden. It started small, just a few raised beds built with donated materials. But it was enough to get students' hands in the soil and their minds thinking. Today, the garden boasts 24 raised beds, student-designed landscaping, and a variety of crops.
In the last year or so, our garden has taken off and we are now producing lots and lots of vegetables. And so it's important for kids to know where their food really comes from, what real food tastes like off of a vine. And so not only seeing the process of the plant growing and pollinating and producing, but also harvesting and pruning, recipes that we use. We also have started working a lot on sustainability. There will come a time where Miss Pringle is not here, and who's going to take care of these things, and how can we make sure that this continues? How can we make sure that our soil is ready for next season? What can we do different that we didn't do last time? And so a lot of our lessons and a lot of our conversations with kids have also started to revolve around that.
But the courtyard was only the beginning. A tour of the school grounds, one will notice a 5,000 square foot pumpkin patch and a habitat for Fern the goat and Clyde the potbelly pig. Aaron's students, some of whom had never stepped foot on a farm, now experience a full sensory learning environment, discovering where food really comes from and the science behind agriculture. This connection has inspired the creation of the Farm Foodies Club, where students cook farm-to-table recipes with local chefs and taste the produce they grow themselves.
One of the clubs that we started to get to put out into the community was our Farm Foodies Club. And all of the ag in the classroom things happening here, and then it took one partner in education just walking by and listening to our kids talk about it, to then where we've now been able to build partnerships with banks who are willing to support us and providing funds during the year, grants that she looks for. She goes out of her way on her free time to present at conferences and to expose what the benefit is to bringing our kids into this type of environment and getting to let them literally get their hands dirty, and why does that need to be something that we incorporate back into schools.
I don't go and ask for money. I have kids show what we're doing. Our kids are constantly researching, finding out how much something would cost, contacting, and so again, those life skills, contacting, asking adults, finding out information, making a budget. Those are things that are kind of like soft skills that we're teaching along the way, and so when they go to ask for things from a company, they tend to get it. When they help to write a grant, we tend to get it, and so having that kid perspective is a big one.
As Erin continues to bridge the gap between her students' suburban life and the vast world of agriculture, she leaves a legacy of curiosity, stewardship, and a passion for future generations. For her, it's not just about teaching. It's about nurturing a love for learning and a respect for the land that will grow along with her students.
A lot of our mission and values all relate around loving, and unity makes us great. And so we begin and end every single day with things like, if anyone has told you yet, we love every single one of you. We can't wait to see you tomorrow. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of hugging. There's a lot of I love yous in the car line and stuff. So it's just kind of how it is here.
Once again, applications are now open for the next lucky recipient. The deadline to submit an application is May 16th. For full details, just head to the web address you see there on your screen. However, if you've got questions or need help getting started, your local Farm Bureau office can also help.
When we come back, a special delivery in Perry is more than just adorable. We'll show you how these baby chicks are helping adults with disabilities build skills, confidence, and a deeper connection to agriculture.
The University of Georgia's Center for Food Safety is home to internationally recognized researchers who are making an impact through the prevention, detection, and control of foodborne pathogens around the world. These pathogens are responsible for 48 million cases of foodborne illness annually in the United States alone, and can be transmitted through food items including produce, meat, and dairy. Center for Food Safety scientists work to protect your food every step of the way, from farm to plate. In doing so, they are ensuring safe and healthy food for our planet's growing population by reducing the impact of harmful microorganisms on the global food supply. Center for Food Safety researchers strive to better understand the foodborne pathogens that occur on crops and livestock at all stages of the food supply chain. They use bioinformatics, machine learning, and data analytics to solve contamination issues that cause foodborne illness. They develop innovative technologies and ingredients to eliminate microbes found in food and the environment. They seek to understand how microbes survive in food and food processing environments. Researchers at the Center for Food Safety have developed strong relationships with leading federal and state institutions, including the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Food and Drug Administration, and the Department of Agriculture, ensuring that the safest food arrives on your table. They also work collaboratively with members of the food industry to uncover new, innovative ways of preserving safe food. Protecting our food supply is an international responsibility. See how the Center for Food Safety is doing their part to advance the understanding of foodborne pathogens for the health of the planet.
Finally this week, the story of how one local group is getting hands-on experience raising chickens. And the Farm Monitor was there when they received a noisy parcel at their local post office. That's something you don't typically hear at your neighborhood post office.
Baby chick arrival!
You heard that right. These chicks traveled all the way from Valley Hatchery to Perry, Georgia.
We got a call about 7:30 this morning saying that the chicks have arrived.
We've been doing a lot of work getting ready for these baby chicks, haven't we?
Halo Group team members were ready for their arrival.
They need food, they need shelter. They do.
The Halo Group, a vocational and lifestyle skills program geared towards adults with disabilities. The organization offers classes in job readiness, social skills, and independent living. They also help with job placement and on-the-job support. They even started exploring opportunities in agriculture with their farm experience.
We would love to know where our food comes from. And part of our big initiative with the farm experience in general is our partnership at the Georgia National Fairgrounds at the Starbuck Garden. We started with raising food, planting, doing 3 crops year-round to benefit for ourselves, also share with our local food pantries as well as local restaurants. So then it led to our baby chicks and our chicks getting eggs from our laying hens, and we've done that for 2 years. And now we're taking it another step forward and we're experimenting with our pasture space with the meat chickens.
This year, with the help of their friend and mentor, Farmer Fredo, they're learning to raise chickens for meat, or broilers.
So we have a pasture area and we have done the research to build our own chicken tractor, which is a mobile chicken coop. And we have ordered our first batch of 75 Cornish hen baby chicks.
These chicks are just 1 day old. And they will stay in the Halo Group's brooder space until they get their first feathers. Then they'll be moved into the movable chicken coop in the pasture for about 6 weeks.
As they are in their movable chicken coop, they will eat up the grass in our pasture area, and they will also fertilize it with their manure. And so after they are ready for processing, then that area will then become fertile ground for our new in-ground garden space. When they're between 8 weeks and 10 weeks old, they're ready for processing, and they grow really fast, and they'll be about 6 to 8 pounds per bird.
She says they have several partners in the community they lean on to learn all they can about agriculture.
We have some mentors that are teaching us all of the licensing regulations and the procedures for processing our hens. One batch we will send to a meat processor locally, and then the other batch we're going to do it ourselves.
It's just another skill to add to their growing list of accomplishments for team members in the Halo Group. And we do want to let you know that the Halo Group is always looking for volunteers to help in their garden or pasture. For more information on how you can lend your expertise to the group, visit halogroupga.org.
All right, before we send you on your way, don't forget the Farm Monitor TV show, Just One Way to stay plugged into everything Georgia agriculture. If you're hungry for more, and we mean that literally, with recipes, food tips, farm features, and all things ag, come hang out with us online. Hit up our social media pages and, of course, farm-monitor.com. We're posting, sharing, and storytelling all week long, so give us a follow, drop us a comment. We love hearing from everybody.
Yes, we do. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time right here on the Farm Monitor. Stay safe and have a great week.